the casket lowered into the earth like a secret finally buried. And Isaiah Hawthorne, wait, no, that couldn't be right, stood there in the drizzle, his polished shoes sinking into the mud of this godforsaken upstate New York graveyard, wondering why the hell he'd shown up to a dead man's funeral he had no business attending. The priest's voice droned on about eternal rest, but all Isaiah could hear was the echo of that cryptic email from a week ago. Elias Hawthorne requests your presence at his farewell. You owe him that much. Owe him? Isaiah hadn't owed a soul since he left foster care at 18, scraping by on bar shifts in Brooklyn dives, his heart armored against anyone who might crack it open again. As the first shovelful of dirt hit the wood with a thud that rattled his bones, a woman in a black veil, Elias's sister, maybe, turned and locked eyes with him, her glare sharp as a switchblade, whispering loud enough for the mourners to hear. You don't belong here, boy. He was poisoned by your kind long before the cancer took him. Isaiah's pulse hammered like a bass drop in a packed club, the kind where sweat and strobe lights blurred the line between ecstasy and escape. He'd come because of the name Elias Hawthorne, tattooed on his inner wrist in faded ink from a drunken night 20 years ago, when Isaiah was just a scared kid in group homes, dreaming of a father who'd never claimed him. But this Elias? The obituary painted a pillar of the community, hardware store owner in Willow Creek, married once, divorced quietly, no kids listed. Isaiah had Googled him on the Greyhound up from the city, heart sinking with each wholesome photo of bake sales and Little League sponsorships. What kind of cosmic joke dragged a queer bartender from Bed-Stuy to this podunk memorial, where rainbow flags were as welcome as a Confederate rally? He shifted on his feet, the crowd of flannel-clad locals parting like they sensed the outsider's stain. When the veil woman, Ruth, the program said, stepped forward, her voice slicing through the patter of rain. Isaiah, that you? God, you look just like him. Elias always said you'd come crawling back. The word back hit like a sucker punch, doubling Isaiah over internally as he straightened, rain streaking his close-cropped curls. Crawling? He'd never even met the man. Or had he? Fragments flickered. A blurry memory of strong hands lifting him from a playground swing. A lullaby hummed low and rough. Then nothing but echoes in empty apartments. Foster files had sealed his origins tighter than a confessional. But that tattoo? A dare from a street kid named Jax, who swore it was guardian angel script. Now, staring at the hole-swallowing Elias hole, Isaiah felt the ground tilt. Ruth grabbed his arm, nails digging in like accusations. The readings at the house after. You show. Or the devil take what's yours. What's mine? He wanted to laugh, bitter and broken, but the mourners were filing away, umbrellas blooming like black flowers, leaving him with the gravediggers and a ghost of a question. What if this stranger wasn't a stranger at all? By the time Isaiah pulled up to the Hawthorne homestead, an old Victorian sagging under ivy like regrets, the sky had cracked open, thunder rumbling like the bass in his chest. The house sat on the edge of Willow Creek, a postcard of Americana gone sour, wraparound porch with peeling paint, American flags limp in the wet, and pickup trucks mud-splattered in the drive. He killed the rental car's engine, hands trembling on the wheel. 28 years of running, from group homes that smelled like bleach and broken promises, from hookups that left him hollow, from the mirror that showed a man too pretty for his own good, with high cheekbones and eyes like polished obsidian, and now this. A dead man's summons, pulling him back to roots he didn't know he had. Inside, the air hung heavy with pot roast and polyester grief, relatives murmuring in clusters around lace doilies and family Bibles. Ruth spotted him first, her lips pursing like she'd bitten a lemon. You came. Miracles do happen. She was mid-40s, wiry as barbed wire, with Elias's jawline sharpened by years of unspoken resentments. No hug, no handclasp, just a nod toward the dining room, where a notary in a ill-fitting suit fiddled with papers under a chandelier that flickered like bad karma. Isaiah hung back, nursing a styrofoam cup of watery coffee, eavesdropping on whispers. Elias was always soft on strays. Cancer rots the brain, makes a man do foolish things. His skin prickled. He knew that tone, the one that branded you other in small towns where love like his was whispered about in pews on Sundays. The reading started with the usual legalese: debts settled, hardware store to a nephew, cabin by the lake to Ruth, but Isaiah tuned it out, staring at a faded photo on the mantel. Elias in his prime, flannel shirt open at the collar, arms slung around a younger version of himself? No, couldn't be. The notary cleared his throat. And to Isaiah Jeremiah Hawthorne, biological son of the deceased, I bequeath the entirety of my remaining estate, the family home, savings in the amount of $247,000, and all personal effects, including the contents of the safe deposit box at First National. Gasps rippled like wind through cornstalks. Ruth's cup hit the saucer with a crack. What the hell? Elias? Him? After all this time, Isaiah's world narrowed to a pinprick. Biological son. The words echoed, rewriting his DNA in real time. He wasn't Isaiah the Foster fuck-up, the guy slinging Manhattans to finance bros who eyed his ass more than their drinks. He was Hawthorne. Legit. The notary slid an envelope across the table, sealed with wax that looked like it belonged in a Gothic novel. He insisted you read it alone. And there's someone waiting upstairs. Said you'd need him. Upstairs? Isaiah's legs moved on autopilot, the stairs creaking under his weight like confessions. The hallway smelled of mothballs and Old Spice, doors ajar to bedrooms frozen in time, twin beds with quilts, a desk cluttered with model airplanes. The last door, at the end, stood open to a study bathed in the gray light of storm-filtered windows. There, leaning against a bookshelf crammed with Field and Stream and dog-eared Steinbecks, was a man who looked like he'd stepped out of Isaiah's fever dreams. Mid-30s, Latino heritage etched in warm olive skin and dark waves of hair swept back just enough to reveal a widow's peak that screamed intensity. He wore a charcoal button-down rolled to the elbows, forearms corded with muscle from who knows what labor, and eyes, God, those eyes like liquid amber, holding secrets and heat in equal measure. Isaiah, he said, voice low and smooth as bourbon, extending a hand that Isaiah shook on instinct, the grip lingering a beat too long. I'm Adrian Reyes. Elias's attorney. And more, if you can believe it. The more hung there, electric, as Adrian's thumb brushed Isaiah's knuckles before letting go. Close, Adrian smelled like cedar and rain, and Isaiah's traitorous body responded with a flush he hadn't felt since that one-night stand in the village last summer. Adrian gestured to a leather armchair by the desk, where the envelope waited like a landmine. He wrote it for you. Wanted me to make sure you got it straight, no filters, no family interference. Isaiah sank into the chair, the leather cool against his damp shirt, and slit the seal with a letter opener shaped like a deer antler. Elias's handwriting spilled out in loops and slashes, the kind that spoke of a man who fixed engines with the same precision he hit hearts. My boy, if you're reading this, I'm dust. and you're still breathing fire. I know I don't deserve the ink on this page, but hell, this is my last shot. You were 6 when I let them take you. Ruth's husband had connections. Said it was for your own good. But truth? I was scared shitless. Scared of what loving you meant in a town that chews up men like us. Yeah, us. I saw it in you even then. That spark they try to snuff out. The tattoo? My idea. Whispered during our last hide and seek in the barn. Guardian angel, I called it, but it was me marking you as mine before the world could erase me. This inheritance is not pity. It's restitution. The house, the money, use it to build what I couldn't. And Adrian. He's the one who pulled me through the dark years. Lawyer by day, my anchor by night. He knows the rest. Talk to him. For once, let someone in. Forgive me if you can. Burn this if you can't. But live, Isaiah. Loud and unapologetic. Your father, finally. Elias. Isaiah's vision blurred. The paper crumpling in his fist as sobs clawed up from a place he'd buried deeper than any grave. Adrian knelt beside him, hand on his shoulder, warm, steady, not pulling away when Isaiah leaned into it, the dam breaking in hiccuping waves. He loved you, Adrian murmured, voice cracking just enough to betray his own grief. More than he ever let on. And he trusted me to help you carry this. Their eyes met, Isaiah's raw and searching, Adrian's guarded but softening, and in that charged silence, something shifted, a spark, forbidden and fierce, igniting in the ruins of revelation. Downstairs, Ruth's voice rose like a siren, shattering the moment. This is bullshit. That boy's a liar. Elias never mentioned no son. Footsteps thundered up, the door banging open to reveal her flanked by 2 burly cousins, faces twisted in small-town outrage. Adrian stood, shielding Isaiah with his body, his posture all quiet steel. The will's ironclad. Ruth. Contesting it won't bring Elias back. It'll just tear down what he built. She spat on the rug, eyes blazing. What he built, with filth like you two whispering in his ear. Elias was a good Christian man till you poisoned him. The slur landed like shrapnel. But Adrian didn't flinch, just met her gaze with a calm that bordered on pity. Love's not poison, Ruth. It's the only antidote there is. Isaiah rose, envelope clutched like a talisman, his voice steady for the first time that day. I'm his son. Blood don't lie. Ruth laughed, bitter and brittle. Blood? You're a mistake, he regretted. But fine, lawyer boy here can fight for his little fairy tale. We'll see you in court. She stormed out, cousins trailing like storm clouds, leaving the study echoing with the slam of the front door. Adrian turned, exhaustion etching lines around his mouth. But his smile was tentative, real. You okay? Isaiah shook his head, stepping closer, the air between them humming. No. But stay, just for tonight. Adrian's nod was slow, deliberate, his hand finding Isaiah's again. As long as you need. That night, the storm raged outside the Hawthorne house, wind howling through cracks in the eaves like Elias's unspoken apologies. Isaiah wandered the halls in borrowed sweats, Adrian's, loose on his slimmer frame but carrying that cedar scent like a promise, tracing fingerprints on walls that held a childhood he couldn't quite remember. The safe deposit box key burned in his pocket, retrieved from the notary's stash, but he wasn't ready. Not yet. Instead, He found Adrian in the kitchen, sleeves rolled higher now, nursing a beer at the scarred oak table where Elias must have eaten 1,000 silent meals. Moonlight slanted through the window, silvering Adrian's profile, and Isaiah paused in the doorway, heart thudding with the recklessness of a man handed a second chance. "You knew him well?" Isaiah asked, sliding into the chair opposite, their knees brushing under the table, a spark that neither acknowledged but both felt. Adrian took a pull from the bottle, Adam's apple bobbing in a way that drew Isaiah's eyes despite himself. 10 years. Met him when he came to my firm for a divorce. Ruth's doing, mostly. She found out about us. The us hung heavy, and Isaiah's breath caught. So Elias had lived it too. The hidden glances, the midnight drives to nowhere. Adrian continued, voice low, confiding. He was closeted deep, but with me, he bloomed. Taught me how to fix a carburetor, how to fish for trout at dawn. Said I reminded him of someone he lost. His eyes flicked up, locking on Isaiah's. You, the word wrapped around Isaiah like smoke, warm and intoxicating. He reached across, fingers tracing the back of Adrian's hand, calluses rough from legal briefs and whatever else filled his days. And you? What's your story? Adrian flipped his hand, palm up, interlacing their fingers with a sigh that spoke volumes. Grew up in the Bronx, first-gen Colombian. Dad split when I was 10. Mom worked doubles at the hospital. Law school on scholarships and spite. Then Elias, he saw something in me, hired me to run his estate planning. We fought it at first, the age gap, the town. But love like that, it don't ask permission. Isaiah's thumb stroked Adrian's wrist, mirroring the tattoo's hidden script. He left you nothing? Adrian's laugh was soft, sad. Everything worth having. The will's just paper. He gave me back my heart. They talked till the beer warmed to room temp, stories spilling like confessions. Isaiah's bar fights to prove he wasn't soft, the grinder ghosts that left him colder than Brooklyn winters. Adrian's string of safe, straight-passing boyfriends who bailed when Willow Creek's whispers got too loud. Laughter crept in, tentative, then full-throated when Isaiah mimicked Ruth's lemon-sour scowl. But under it, tension coiled, Adrian's gaze lingering on Isaiah's lips, the way his foot hooked around Isaiah's ankle under the table. When the clock struck 2, Adrian stood, reluctance in every line. Guest rooms down the hall. I'll crash on the couch. Isaiah caught his wrist. Pull gentle but insistent. Stay. Please. I don't want to be alone with his ghosts tonight. Adrian searched his face, amber eyes darkening with want and wariness. Isaiah, you're grieving. Vulnerable. I won't. But Isaiah closed the gap, hand cupping Adrian's jaw, stubble rasping against his palm. Not vulnerable. Awake. For the first time in years, their kiss started soft, exploratory, lips brushing like a question, then deepened, Adrian's arms banding around Isaiah's waist, lifting him onto the table's edge with a growl that vibrated through them both. Hands roamed, Isaiah fisting Adrian's shirt, yanking it free to trace the ridges of his abs. Scarred from a childhood fall off a fire escape, Adrian's fingers tunneling into Isaiah's curls, tilting his head for better access, tongues tangling in a dance of hunger long denied. They made it to Elias's old bed upstairs, clothes shedding like old skins, the mattress dipping under their weight. Adrian was reverent at first, mapping Isaiah's body with kisses, collarbone, nipples pebbling under his tongue, the V of hips leading to where Isaiah arched. Gasping. "Beautiful," Adrian whispered, voice hoarse, as he slicked fingers with spit, preparing him slow, eyes never leaving Isaiah's. "Like coming home," Isaiah bucked, nails digging into Adrian's shoulders, the stretch burning sweet. "Then don't stop." When Adrian pushed in, it was poetry, deep, deliberate thrusts that synced with their breaths. Isaiah's legs wrapped tight, heels pressing Adrian closer. They moved like they'd rehearsed it in dreams, climax crashing over them in waves. Isaiah first, spilling hot between them with a cry muffled against Adrian's neck. Adrian following, burying his face in Isaiah's chest, shuddering release like absolution. After, tangled in sheets that smelled faintly of Elias's aftershave, Adrian traced lazy patterns on Isaiah's stomach. "This changes everything," Isaiah hummed, sated and sleepy. "Or nothing. We're just us." But even as he said it, doubt flickered Ruth's threats. The will's shadow, the safe deposit box waiting like Pandora's lock. Morning would bring lawyers and ledgers, but for now, in the hush of pre-dawn, Isaiah let himself believe in second acts. Dawn broke gray and unforgiving, coffee perking in the kitchen as Isaiah rifled through Elias's desk drawers. Receipts for fishing lures, a dog-eared copy of Giovanni's Room with margins underlined in frantic pencil. No one can ever know. Adrian joined him, showered and sharp in slacks and a crisp Oxford, briefcase in hand. Court dates set for next month. Ruth's already lawyered up, some shark from Albany. Isaiah nodded, folding the novel shut like a wound. "Let her. This is mine now." But the words felt hollow. Inheritance wasn't just bricks and bucks. It was unraveling a life, thread by thread. They drove to the bank in Adrian's truck, an old Ford that rumbled like thunder, radio tuned low to Springsteen crooning about highways and ghosts. Willow Creek blurred past, the hardware store with its closed for morning sign, the diner where locals shot furtive glances at the truck's tinted windows. At First National, the vault air was cool and metallic, the box yielding folders thick with yellowed paper. Birth certificate. Isaiah Jeremiah Hawthorne, born in this very town. Mother deceased in childbirth. Father listed as Elias J. Hawthorne. Hospital records. Adoption papers sealed then shredded by Elias's hand. And letters dozens, unsent, addressed to Isaiah at every foster address Elias had scrounged from underground networks. One stopped Isaiah cold, dated 5 years ago, post-diagnosis. "Son, the doc says 6 months, but I know better. Time to make it right." Adrian's solid, "Trust him like you couldn't trust me." Isaiah's throat tightened, handing it to Adrian, who read silently, jaw clenching. He planned this. Knew Ruth would fight dirty. Back in the truck, Isaiah stared at the dash. Why now? Why not sooner? Adrian started the engine, hand squeezing Isaiah's thigh, a touch that lingered, grounding. Fear's a hell of a thief. But he beat it, in the end. The next weeks blurred into a haze of preparation. Isaiah crashing at the house, boxing Elias's life into labeled crates while Adrian drafted motions from the makeshift office downstairs. Nights were theirs, lazy suppers of takeout Thai on the porch, bodies entwining in the king bed upstairs, learning each other's rhythms like a secret code. Adrian was all fire and finesse. Mornings with coffee kisses, evenings with slow grinds that left marks blooming like claims. "You're mine now," he'd murmur against Isaiah's skin, and Isaiah believed it, whispering back promises he meant to keep. But daytime brought cracks, voicemails from Ruth's lawyer dripping venom, perjury on the birth records? We'll bury you. Isaiah ignored them, focusing on the garden out back, tilling soil Elias had neglected, planting marigolds as if roots could anchor him. Then betrayal slithered in, subtle as fog. Adrian's phone buzzed during a rare quiet afternoon, Isaiah napping on the couch after a brutal gym session, pushing weights to outrun the emotional freefall. Adrian stepped into the study, voice low. Yeah, I got the files. Just keep it quiet till the hearing. Isaiah stirred, padding silent to the door, eavesdropping like a ghost. Ruth's offering what? Double? No. Elias trusted me, but this kid, he's trouble. Fresh off the boat from the city, all flash, no substance, laughter, cruel and unfamiliar. Settle out of court? Tempting. Yeah, I'll think on it. Isaiah's blood iced over. Trouble? Flash? The man who'd mapped his scars with lips and lies now bartering his grief? He burst in, voice steel. The fuck? Adrian whirled, phone clattering, face paling. Isaiah, it's not. But Isaiah snatched it, beaker on. Ruth's voice slithering through. Tell the boy to take the scraps and go. Or we drag his dirty laundry through every paper from here to Manhattan. Click. Silence roared. Adrian reached, pleading. Baby, listen. She's bluffing, trying to divide us. I was stalling, buying time. Isaiah recoiled, the envelope from Elias crumpling in his fist again. Stalling? Or shopping me out like yesterday's catch? You knew him, knew how it feels to be the secret, the mistake. And now you're playing both sides. Adrian's eyes glistened, but Isaiah saw calculation there, the lawyer's mask slipping. I love you, Isaiah. But this town's poison. Ruth's got pull. And if we lose in court, love. The word twisted like a knife. Isaiah laughed. Hollow. Love or leverage? Get out. Adrian lingered, mouth opening on protests. But Isaiah turned away, shoulders shaking. The door shut soft behind him, truck gravel crunching into the dusk. Alone, Isaiah tore through the house like a man possessed, smashing a vase of dried roses, appending drawers till he found it. Adrian's briefcase, unlocked in haste. Inside, drafts of the will, annotated in red, contest viable on undue influence, Elias's lifestyle as leverage. Notes on Isaiah, vulnerable, urban background, potential for scandal. A check stub, and signed, from Ruth, $50,000, dated yesterday. Betrayal burned hot, then cold, leaving ashes. He burned the letters in the fireplace, watching Elias's words curl to black, then grabbed the keys. The Greyhound station was 20 miles. He'd be back in Brooklyn by midnight, inheritance be damned. But at the station, rain lashing the benches, Isaiah's phone lit up. Adrian. Then a unknown, don't go. Please. The box, there's more. Curse his weakness. He turned back, truck idling empty at the house. Adrian waited on the porch, soaked and shattered, a manila envelope in hand. Last thing from the box. For you. Isaiah snatched it, ripping open to photos. Him as a toddler on Elias's shoulders, laughing. Elias and a young Adrian at a pride march in Albany. Signs held high, love wins, faces fierce with joy. A note, Elias's scrawl. Adrian's no saint, son. None of us are. But he fought for me when I couldn't. Give him grace. Give yourself. Isaiah looked up, rain mingling with tears. You sold me out. Adrian stepped close, voice breaking. I faltered. Ruth cornered me, threatened to out Elias's whole life, drag your name through it. I thought, protect you by bending. Hands cupped Isaiah's face, thumbs swiping wet tracks. But I can't lose you. Not when you make me believe in forever. The kiss was desperate. Salt and storm. Isaiah's fists unclenching in Adrian's shirt. Prove it, he whispered. Walk away from her. From all of it. Adrian nodded, fierce. For you, anything. They stumbled inside, bodies crashing in the hall against walls, frantic and forgiving, clothes shed in a trail to the bedroom. This time, it was rawer, Isaiah topping, pinning Adrian down, thrusts deep and demanding, drawing gasps that bordered on sobs. Mine, Isaiah growled, and Adrian arched, whispering yes like prayer. Their release a catharsis, bodies slick and spent. The hearing came like a reckoning, Albany courtroom stuffy with polished wood and pretense. Ruth sat ramrod, lawyer preening with affidavits of fraud. Isaiah took the stand, voice steady. He was my father. Flawed, hidden, but mine. This isn't about money. It's about claiming what's been denied. Adrian cross-examined like a poet warrior, dismantling her claims with Elias's own words. The photos projected large. Father and son. Arms linked. Elias and Adrian. Unashamed. The judge ruled swift, will upheld. Estate intact. Ruth stormed out, defeated, but Isaiah caught her eye. No triumph, just pity. He loved you too, Ruth. Let it go. Back in Willow Creek. The house transformed. Walls painted soft blue. Garden bursting with wildflowers. Isaiah kept the bar gig part-time, commuting to open a queer youth center in the old hardware store, Elias's legacy. Reborn. Adrian hung his shingle upstairs. Cases pro bono for kids like Isaiah once was. Nights, they lay tangled, Adrian's head on Isaiah's chest, heartbeat sinking. Think he'd approve? Adrian murmured one evening, stars winking through the attic window. Isaiah kissed his temple. He already did. We're his happy ending. And in the quiet, with fireflies dancing like fireflies of forgiveness, Isaiah knew it was true. Love, messy and mended, was the real inheritance. No grave could hold that. The betrayal festered like an untreated wound, even after Adrian's truck faded into the taillights of regret. Isaiah paced the empty house, floorboards groaning under his bare feet, each creak a reminder of foundations cracked long before he'd arrived. The fireplace embers glowed mocking, illuminating the check stub he'd left smoldering on the hearth. $50,000. A Judas kiss in ink. How many times had Adrian's hands, those same hands that traced his spine with reverence, signed away secrets for a payout? Isaiah grabbed a bottle of Elias's bourbon from the sideboard, the label peeling like old lies, and swigged deep, the burn chasing but not quite catching the ache. He collapsed onto the couch, the same one where they'd first tangled in tentative touches, Adrian's laugh warm against his neck. Lies. All of it. The safe deposit box mocked him from the kitchen table, its contents strewn like autopsy photos. The birth certificate with Elias's shaky signature, the unsent letters pleading for a chance Isaiah had never known to give. One photo slipped free, a Polaroid of Elias in his 40s, arm around a teenage Adrian at some lakeside barbecue, both grinning with the easy camaraderie of men who'd found solace in shared silence. Adrian's eyes, even then, held that amber fire, but now Isaiah saw calculation, a predator's gleam. "Fuck you," he muttered to the empty room, hurling the photo into the flames. Curled slow, Elias's smile blackening last. Dawn found him wrecked, eyes gritty, packing a duffel with essentials. Jeans, tees, the tattoo of phantom itch under his sleeve. The Greyhound would spit him back to Brooklyn, to the dive bar's neon embrace, where hookups were transactions and hearts stayed holstered. But as he zipped the bag, a knock rattled the door, soft, hesitant. Adrian, briefcase abandoned, hair tousled from a night without sleep, eyes red-rimmed and raw. "Don't," Isaiah barked, blocking the threshold, body coiled like a spring. Adrian held up the manila envelope, hands trembling. 1 minute. For him, reluctance warred with curiosity, but Isaiah stepped aside, arms crossed like armor. Adrian entered, dripping rain like tears, laying the envelope on the table without a word. Inside, more from the box, tucked away till now. A will codicil, dated last, to Adrian Reyes, my heart's keeper, the lake cabin, free and clear. But only if you stand by our boy. Blood may tie him to me, but you're his future. Then the photos, vivid testaments, Elias and Adrian at that Pride March. Signs bold, faces alight with the thrill of defiance. A candid of young Isaiah, gap-toothed and gleeful, hoisted on Elias's shoulders during a county fair, the Ferris wheel blurring behind. And a letter, to both of them, Adrian, if I'm gone, tell him the truth, we loved fierce because the world hated easy. Isaiah, he's your mirror, scarred, strong, worth the fight. Don't let Ruth's venom win. Fight for each other. Isaiah's knees buckled, sinking to the floor, letter clutched to his chest. Adrian knelt too, close but not touching. I fucked up. Ruth's lawyer cornered me after the funeral, offered cash to advise a settlement, said they'd paint you as a gold digger, out Elias's life in the papers. I panicked. Thought I could play them, delay till the hearing. But hearing you call me out, it broke me. I burned the check last night, Isaiah. Tore up the notes. I'm all in or nothing. His voice cracked, hand hovering. Please. Let me prove it. Isaiah looked up, the amber eyes stripped bare, no mask. Just a man frayed at the edges. Love etched in the lines. The kiss, when it came, was collision. Isaiah surging forward, fisting Adrian's collar, pulling him down to the rug in a tangle of limbs and longing. Teeth nipped, tongues battled, forgiveness in every gasp, every grind of hips that promised atonement. Adrian's hands were everywhere, under Isaiah's shirt, mapping ribs like braille, down to belt buckles clinking free. Let me show you, Adrian breathed, flipping them so Isaiah straddled his lap, grinding slow, deliberate. Isaiah nodded, shedding layers, skin to skin in the morning light filtering through lace curtains. Adrian worshipped, mouth hot on Isaiah's throat, sucking marks like brands, fingers teasing, then plunging, curling just right to draw moans that echoed off the walls. Yours, Adrian vowed, guiding Isaiah down onto him, inch by aching inch, their rhythm building like a storm. Deep rolls, Isaiah's hands braced on Adrian's chest, nails leaving crescents. Climax hit them synced, Isaiah spilling first with a shattered cry, Adrian chasing with a groan that vibrated through them, bodies locking in release. They lay spent, breaths mingling, Adrian's fingers combing Isaiah's curls. No more secrets, Isaiah pressed a kiss to his pulse. No more running, the hearing loomed like a thunderhead, but in its shadow, Isaiah and Adrian rebuilt, brick by tentative brick. Mornings started with coffee on the porch, mugs steaming as they pored over case files, Adrian's briefs sharp as scalpels, Isaiah's insights raw from lived scars. Ruth'll go for the throat, Adrian warned one crisp October day, leaves skittering across the lawn like fleeing confidences. Claim Elias was coerced, that I manipulated him in his weakness, Isaiah snorted, lacing his fingers through Adrian's. Coerced? Man built an empire from scrap. And you're the best thing that happened to him. Adrian's smile was crooked, grateful, pulling Isaiah in for a kiss that tasted of hazelnut creamer and hope. Afternoons, Isaiah threw himself into the house, sanding floors scarred by decades of hidden footsteps, painting walls in shades of dawn, soft golds, whispering blues that chased away the ghosts. He found Elias's old toolbox in the attic, hammer heavy with history, and hung shelves for photos, the Pride March print framed proud, a new one of him and Adrian at the lake, arms linked, water lapping like applause. Evenings were sanctuary, dinners cooked together, Adrian's arepas crisp with plantains, Isaiah's jambalaya spicy from Brooklyn roots. Then bed, where words gave way to touch, Adrian's body a landscape Isaiah mapped anew, each freckle a landmark, every sigh a sonnet. But conflict brewed beyond the picket fence. Ruth's harassment escalated. Tires slashed on Adrian's truck, anonymous letters stuffed in the mailbox. Sodom's spawn, leave before fire falls. Isaiah found one taped to the center's door, spray-painted fags out over the youth hotline number he'd just installed. Rage boiled, but Adrian reined him in. Document it. Turns her venom to our venom. They filed reports. The sheriff, a gruff bear with a secret rainbow pin on his lanyard, nodding sympathy. Small towns learning, slow as molasses. Hang tough, deeper cuts came from within. Isaiah's first trip back to Brooklyn unearthed old wounds. Bar buddies ribbing his inheritance glow, but eyes lingering too long on the ringless finger. Whispers of gone soft for that lawyer suit. A hookup from last winter texted, miss that fire. Ditch the picket fence. Isaiah deleted it, but doubt wormed in. Was he trading freedom for facade? He confessed to Adrian over whiskey by the fire, voice small. What if this is just rebound? Grief dressing up as love. Adrian pulled him close, lips brushing temple. Then we're the best dressed fools alive. But feel this, hand over heart, steady thrum. Real as rain, the night before the hearing, tension peaked. They drove to the lake cabin, Elias's gift to Adrian. A weathered A-frame nestled in pines, dock creaking over water black as ink. No words at first, just stripping by firelight, bodies urgent. Isaiah pressed to the wall, Adrian's mouth devouring his neck, hands rough with need. Need you, Adrian growled, dropping to knees, taking Isaiah deep, wet heat, tongue swirling, drawing gasps that fogged the windows. Isaiah hauled him up, bending him over the couch, fingers prepping swift. Then thrusting home, hard snaps, Adrian's pleas mingling with the crackle of logs. They came undone together, collapsing in a heap, sweat-slick and sated. Whatever tomorrow brings, Adrian panted. We face it side by side. Court convened at 9 sharp. The Albany chamber a coliseum of oak and oaths. Ruth entered like a fury, pearls clutched, lawyer a weasel in pinstripes. Your Honor, the deceased was of unsound mind, manipulated by Respondent Reyes here, and this opportunist claimant. Affidavits flew, neighbor testimonies of Elias's odd behaviors, medical notes twisted to imply dementia. Isaiah's turn came, heart pounding as he took the stand, Adrian's gaze his anchor from counsel table. Elias wasn't manipulated. He was liberated. Hid who he was for decades, to protect me, to survive this town. The will, his way of shouting it from the rooftops. Voice steady, he pulled the letters, reading Elias's words aloud. Live loud, son. Gasps rippled. Ruth's face crumpled, mask slipping to reveal a sister grieving her brother's secrets. Adrian's cross was masterful, dismantling forgeries, introducing the codicil, photos projected like evidence of joy. Love isn't coercion, Your Honor. It's courage. The judge, a silver-haired woman with kind eyes, deliberated brief. Will stands. Costs to petitioners. Gavel fell like grace. Outside, Ruth waited, flanked by cousins, but her approach was solo, hands wringing. I didn't know about any of it. Isaiah nodded, throat tight. He wanted to tell you. Feared you'd hate him. Tears tracked her cheeks. Hate? He was my brother. I was scared for him, for us. A hug, awkward then enveloping, salt of shared sorrow. Stay for coffee? At the house. She glanced at Adrian, softening. All of us. Reconciliation's taste was bittersweet, like chicory in Ruth's weak brew, sipped on the porch swing that creaked under their weight. She spoke halting, of Elias's youth roughhousing in barns, dreaming of city lights before Willow Creek clipped his wings. He wrote me once, from Albany. Pride stuff. I burned it, called him confused. God, what a fool. Isaiah covered her hand, Adrian's silent sentinel beside. Burned bridges mend crooked, but they hold. Ruth nodded, eyes on the garden's riot of color. That center Elias'd love it. Kids like you, finding words for what he couldn't. A truce, fragile as frost, but real. Word spread slow in Willow Creek, the hardware store reopening under Isaiah's lease as Hawthorne Haven. Shelves stocked with tools and pamphlets, a back room for support groups. First meeting, 5 teens, awkward in hoodies, sharing stories of crushes and condemnations. Isaiah facilitated, Adrian lurking in the shadows with coffee runs, his presence a quiet vow. Nights, they celebrated small, bonfires in the yard, s'mores sticky sweet, bodies later tangled in grass, stars witnesses to slow, sensual worship, Adrian's tongue tracing Isaiah's length till he begged, then riding him under moonlight, gasp swallowed in kisses. But climax brewed in shadows. Ruth's shark resurfaced, not with law but leverage. A private eyes report, dug from Isaiah's Brooklyn past, arrest for bar brawl self-defense, dropped charges, Grindr screenshots twisted to imply deceit. Delivered anonymous to Adrian's office, with a note, settle or scandal. Adrian hid it, shredding in fury, but guilt gnawed. He confessed over dinner. Fork paused midair. They want the house back, quiet cash for the center. Considered it. To shield you. Isaiah's fork clattered. Betrayal's echo. Again? After everything. Storm brewed. Words whipping. You think I'm porcelain? I fought for this. For us. Adrian reached. Desperate. I know. But losing you? Unthinkable. Isaiah bolted to the attic, slamming the hatch, curling amid dust motes and memories. Hours ticked. Adrian's knocks soft pleas turning to silence. Dawn. Isaiah descended, finding Adrian asleep on the couch, face etched with vigil. The report lay pieced on the table. Adrian's notes scrawled, countersue for harassment. Expose the PI. A letter beside, Isaiah, you're my north. If you go, take my heart with you. But stay, fight with me. Tears pricked. Isaiah shook him awake, pulling him up into an embrace fierce. No more hiding threats. We burn them together. Adrian sagged, relief flooding. Together, their lovemaking that morning was reclamation. Slow in the shower, steam curling, Adrian on knees again, water cascading as Isaiah threaded fingers through wet hair, thrusting gentle then urgent, release mingling with rivulets down drains. No secrets, Isaiah affirmed, soaping Adrian's back, tracing spine's curve. Adrian turned, kissing sudsy collarbone. None. The confrontation came unbidden. Ruth's annual harvest festival turning arena. Isaiah manned a center booth, rainbow cookies, flyers fluttering, Adrian charming locals with legal consults. Then the PI slunk in, burly and smirking, flanked by Ruth's cousins, voices rising. Fraud! City's scum stealing our town. Crowd murmured. Phones out. Live streams igniting. Isaiah stepped forward, mic from the booth hot in hand. Call me scum if it soothes. But Elias chose me, chose love over lies. You want to drag my past? Drag his too. He projected the codicil on a borrowed screen. Words blazing. Stand by our boy. Gasps. Then claps slow, building to thunder. Ruth burst from the crowd, face ashen. Enough. He's family. She whirled on the PI. You're fired, my dime. My regret. Cousins slunk. Crowd dispersing in whispers of maybe they're okay. Adrian pulled Isaiah aside. Behind the hay bales. Kiss bruising. Hero. Isaiah grinned, nipping lip. Team effort. Winter blanketed Willow Creek in hush. Snow muffling sins. Gilding second chances. The center thrived, group swelling. A holiday party with drag queens from Syracuse spinning tracks. Kids dancing free. Isaiah emceed. Adrian's arm a warm weight around waist. Ruth in the corner nursing eggnog. Her laugh tentative but true. Elias spike this, she toasted, clinking glasses. To family, messy as it is, privately, they deepened. Adrian proposing case reviews over midnight chess. Isaiah countering with poetry slams from Baldwin. Voices weaving intimate. Sex evolved. Playful mornings with toys from a discreet Albany shop. Isaiah bound loose to the headboard. Adrian's feathers and fingers teasing to madness. Tender eves with oil massages turning to languid 69s. Breaths sinking in harmony. Soulmates. Adrian whispered post-glow, tracing Isaiah's tattoo. Angels real after all. Spring unearthed the garden's promise. Bulbs pushing through frost like hope. Isaiah planted a memorial oak by Elias's plot, Adrian wielding shovel, dirt under nails. At the grave, they laid the burned letter's ashes, wind scattering forgiveness. He'd be proud, Adrian said, hand in Isaiah's. Isaiah squeezed. Of us? Damn right. Summer solstice. They wed in the backyard, simple. Ruth officiating via online ordination. Locals picnicking on quilts. Center kids tossing petals. Vows raw. Isaiah's, you saw me when I was invisible. Adrian's, you freed me to love loud. Rings exchanged. Steel bands etched with guardian script. Sealing under sunset's benediction. Years folded gentle. Center expanding to Albany. Isaiah authoring a memoir, Stranger's Legacy. Topping queer lit lists. Adrian partnering in a firm championing LGBTQ rights. Cases won with Elias's grit. Ruth softened fully. Auntie to their adopted foster kid. Little Jamie with curls like Isaiah's. Teaching him to fish at the lake. One autumn eve. Porch swaying. Jamie asleep inside. Isaiah leaned into Adrian. Expected nothing. Got everything. Adrian kissed knuckles. Best inheritance. Fireflies danced. Echoes of Elias's light. Proving love, dramatic, betrayed, redeemed, endures, humanistic and whole.